Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to talk about one additional topic about the AI generalist approach, and in that we are talking about the RAG. So in order to build a RAG there are different components, there are different things we have to try, and this is an additional video on that. So let's start. So in this playlist I have uploaded different videos. So this is the step one, that where you can collect or aggregate the data from different sources. Then the first thing is you have to convert the data to markdown file. Now next part is about the cleaning, data cleaning. Okay, so data cleanup and cross source deduplication. So we will see this in a bit detail. So let's get started. Okay, so step 2.2. So by the way, before that, this is the repository where I have videos for the step one. Okay, the step one details are there, and now we are talking about step two. And in step two, the first part is this data conversion, and now part two, this data cleanup and the remove deduplication. So let's get started. Right, so clean noisy content. So if we see, for example, if you do web scraping with different sources, then we get a lot of unnecessary data, unnecessary HTML tags, and so on. So how can we clean that? Just for example, these are the three websites. I'm just taking some random examples. So these are the three websites where there is some content we want to scrap. Okay, so this is an e-commerce website. There we want to scrap some content. And also, let's say this is one more. This is a Wikipedia page. So normally the aim is that we don't want to have this kind of details in our scraping. We just want to have the original content. So when we do a web scraping, many of the times, because of different examples, we see that there is a lot of unnecessary content. So how can we, clean the noisy content, right? So remove irrelevant boilerplate such as headers and footers, navigation menus from web scrapers, and special characters that don't apply semantic value. So these are the things which we will clean up. What are the benefits? So when we process this data, it will improve the retrieval accuracy. Okay, when we do the RAG step, then reduces cost and latency. Okay, and prevents hallucinations. So a lot of things are achievable, and optimizes embedding quality. So a lot of advantages are there if we do, clean the noise. Now how do we do this? So basically, the in Python programming we have one package or library called as Trafilatura, where we can do this kind of cleaning. So let's see the details. So there are three websites I will show demo. And right, so first thing is we have to use this fetch URL method. We have to pass the URL, and it will get the HTML content of that particular page. Now what happens is, nowadays many of the websites, if you see this typical e-commerce thing, those are a bit smart. They will have some kind of a mechanism where if you don't, or if you access this URL as a API request or something which is not browser based, they will block the content or they will give some malicious data. Now how to handle that? For that also I've used this something called as Playwright. So Playwright is something which is for launching the website as a browser and then extracting the data and then closing the browser. So that kind of mechanism is also available. You can use Selenium also, but Playwright is something which is better, so I'm using Playwright. So fetch URL, okay, fetch the HTML part, and if there is no fetch HTML part, or if it is blocked by some proxy or some mechanism, then I will use the Playwright. So Playwright will start the browser and so on. So we will see a demo. Then once you extract the HTML, okay, so ultimately what we need is the HTML part, and that from that HTML we want to extract the main content. So for that we have a method called as extract. Okay, again in the same package, extract method, and then give the source HTML file and what output format we want, and then some additional parameters, for example metadata, true, and whatever. Right, so let's see how it goes. So we'll see this particular website demo. So I will run it. Okay, so within fraction of second we got a lot of data from that particular website. Now what happens typically when we want to clean noisy content? So boilerplate code such as headers and photos, right? So let's go here. let's say this is the header part and the footer part. So when the cleanup is done, then I don't expect these things should be available after cleanup. So for example, I will say about nz post. So in the result, I will just say control F. I'll say about nz. So there is no result, right? So that means the header related part and the footer related part is cleaned up. Let's take one more example. Let's say for example, how we can help. So in this, search for how we can, right? So there's no result. Okay, so that way we have cleaned to certain extent the header and footer part. Okay, now let's take one more example. This e-commerce website. Okay, this is an e-commerce website, the iconic nz. I will just run it. Okay, so this time because it is e-commerce website, it is smart, so it will not allow access via API or backend. So I have to open the browser and then get the details and extract the thing. Okay, right. So here also there's a lot of cleaned up data available. Okay, that has to be formatted again. But anyways, so you see this title, tops, and those things. So let's search for this tops, this thing on their website. Okay, so that may be some backend info, but anyway, tops, right? So tops, yeah, this is the tops, right? So here also let's see some header part. For example, uh, home. Okay, so home seems to be the header part, but it might be available in the content. So I'm a bit skeptical. Let's search for home. Okay, so home. Okay, so cars, women, men, kids, sports, beauty. Right. So these are again categories in terms of e-commerce website. And if you see, these is basically different sections of header which might be common between different pages. So for e-commerce website, the smartness is that you don't remove the menus and those things for some reason. Let's check the footer part. So for example, let's say this typical privacy policy, right? So search again, privacy policy, privacy PO, right? So zero result. So here, so at least the footer part is removed, okay, or cleaned up. Let's take one more. So let's take size guide. Okay, so size guide, size guide is also zero result. So that means photo is removed. Let's take one more example, which is Wikipedia. Okay, so Wikipedia, if it opens a browser, that means it is smart. But okay, so Wikipedia allows things access via APIs or backend. Right. So in Wikipedia, let's take some header part. For example, let's take uh, C also. Okay, so C also is there. There are two matches. Okay, so probably that is not removed. Okay, then let's take one more. For example, uh, for the reading. Okay, that is also available. There are four matches, so that is not removed. Okay, then let's go for the footer part. So let's say for footer, for example, let's take disclaimers. So disclaimers, yeah, disclaimers, there is zero result. So mostly if you see just three random example of different domains. So footer part is anyway taken care. Header part sometimes is uh, there for some special reason. Okay, just one more thing and we'll go to next topic. So here, if you see these websites, so what I've observed is if you right click and inspect, okay, so this is the HTML page, and if you see the header part, right, so header part, those things will not be considered. And in the body also, if there is something with the tag or some section called as footer, that will be uh, that will be removed. Okay, so there's nothing here. Let's take this for example, go with us, inspect. So yeah, footer, main footer, right? So whatever elements are there in the footer section, when we get the HTML of this, the footer related HTML is removed or skipped. So that's why footer the elements are not uh, available, okay, or they are removed or they are cleaned up, right? So right, so clean noisy content. One example we have seen. Now let's proceed. So remove cross source deduplication. This is a bit theoretical one. So identify and merge near duplicate content across different platforms. So for a RAG system, we can consolidate, we can aggregate the data from different sources. So in a company or in an organization, there might be data which is duplicate across different sites. For example, in Confluence, internal Wikipedia, or some customer care documents and many other documents. Okay, so that is probably a duplicate data, and then we don't want to process the duplicate data because it will increase time and efforts, and it will lead to some unwanted results, hallucination, and so on. So identify and merge near duplicate content across different platform. Use technique like min hash to find duplicates even if they are not exact matches. Okay, so we'll see this in demo. Okay, so it's like a not exact match, but let's say 90% match, so we can take it as a near duplicate, and then we can remove one of the source, right? More info, yes, we will see, and let's see a demo, right? So right, so this is the um, cross deduplication related code, again with some basic example. So identify and merge near duplicate across different platform, use technique, yeah, yes, we have seen. Before running into the code, let's see some examples where deduplication is typically applied, okay, and it is in the ingestion pipeline, okay, or post retrieval phase, and so on. Okay, so there are a lot of examples. So in the interest of time, and because I don't have the proper input data to show you the actual example, actual demo, okay, let's talk about product catalog. Okay, so this is one example. So in a typical example is, in e-commerce, the same product might be listed in multiple categories with slight variations in description. So deduplication ensures the chatbot provides a clean singular answer about product specs. Okay, right, so we will see this in the testing part. So how a developer would do or avoid deduplication. So for now, let's comment this out. Okay, and I have one sample data source. Okay, so if you see these four sources, okay, again it's a very basic example. The text, if you see the text, right, so the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog and full stop. Then same thing but exclamatory mark. Okay, a completely different sentence about cats. Okay, so this is not relevant to other sources. Okay, and quick brown foxes jumps over the lazy space dog, no full stop, and there is an a character is missing. Okay, so if you see by looking at it, you see this and this is near duplicate. Okay, so the content is same, only thing is maybe the exclamation mark, the extra space, some starting word or letter is missing, and like that. Okay, so what this how the deduplication happens is with this min hash. Okay, so min hash, so it is from data sketch package. Okay, so we have to initialize one LSH, which is locally sensitive hashing. It is based on hashing. We have to set a threshold, 0. 0.8. What we want is basically 80% similar, 90% similar, so threshold we have to set. Okay, so this library will try to analyze the trend of the input data, okay, in trend of the input sources, and we'll assign some internal weights and some other mechanism, and will give us the final result that okay, these are the 2 3 sources are near match or complete match, and something which is not matching. Okay, right, so we have to use this LSS, locally sensitive hashing, and okay, and then a method called as pre-processed text. So I'm just doing a simple tokenizer to create shingles. This again little coding related part. Um Right. So this is basically if I am, iterating between different sources which are based on document. So here in another example, we will see I have a document which is Excel, Doc, and PPT. So we can do deduplication in that. But for now, with a simple text, one line simple text. Okay. This is the one, and then the duplication result. I'm doing a set, so this will remove the duplicates from the data, and just doing the find all items which are similar to this one, and then just printing if it is similar or not similar. Okay, unique and non-unique. Okay, and gone. So by the way, this entire source code, as I said, is available here. Okay, and the link is there in the description. So we are seeing this clean noisy content and cross source deduplication, right? Okay, so let's just run it. Okay, so if you see, cluster found is D and A, unique cluster found. So cluster found D and A, that means that the content source A and D, those are related to same cluster, or the information is matching. Okay, 80% matching or 70% matching. Source B and C are unique. Okay, unique item. That means these are not exact duplicate, or not 80% duplicate. Might be less than that, but they are unique. Okay, and so on. Right. So this is one way we can identify deduplication. We can identify duplicate items, and probably we can get rid of the duplicate items. Right. Now instead of this text, right? So I have this code where I have a data which is there for in different formats, so Excel, Doc, and PPT. So basically, this is a stock market related data, and some quarter 3 2026 analysis is there, which is in Excel, repo, docx, and PPT. Okay, so there can be, because it is related to same company, same quarter, same financial year, there can be some data which is duplicate. Okay, so let's analyze this, and let's see if there is a duplication is there or not. So by the way, this data is available in the data folder. Right, so this data is available. Okay, so let's open, let's say, one doc file, and I'll also open, let's say, one Excel file. Okay, so in Excel file there are a lot of sheets. Okay, and in the doc file there is some one page info. Okay, so there is a high chance that these are not duplicates. Okay, because they are having different numbers. Okay, but let's see. So I have to close this and run our code. Okay, so there are three sources, source A, B, C, and yes, it is analyzed, and if you see, all the three items are unique. Okay, that means they are not 80% duplicate, they are probably not even 10% duplicate. Right, so this way we can do a deduplication. Okay, again, it's a very simple example, and there are many examples which we can try out. Right, now this is for the development part. Okay, how a developer would design deduplication and those things. Now, being from automation side, being from the testing side, I have to verify this part, that how this deduplication is really working or not. So this is another code where I have taken one real life example and validated that the duplication is happening or not. Okay, so I don't have the exact production data, but I have some sample data. So here I've taken one e-commerce recommendation is an example, and this is a bit of theory. So typically what happens is, I'll just go through this top part. So to maintain freshness, recommender system use deduplication or re-ranking step to ensure users are not repeatedly shown same products they have already seen or purchased. Right. So just an example. So if you go to this e-commerce website, and if you search for, let's say, white shirt, right? So you can see there is some result. Now, what the recommendation engine is trying to do here is that if I purchase some item, and if I again search, for for the white shirt, I don't want to, or the provider or the e-commerce company don't want to give the repeated results in the search, that so that the user should not feel that there is no different data. Okay, so user should always be presented with some fresh data, or something which is new, or something which is value addition for them, and so on. So typically to avoid duplicates, right? So that is why, to maintain the freshness, recommender system uses deduplication or a re-ranking step to ensure user aren't repeatedly shown products that they have already seen or purchased, right? So in e-commerce, deduplication is less about finding the identical text and more about diversity and freshness engineering. If user sees 10 nearly identical white t-shirts from different brands, the recommendation engine had failed to provide meaningful info, right? So if you are probably giving the same results every time, then the recommendation is not working. Okay, because there is no, user want to see some variety, they and user want to buy some different items. Okay, not the same item all the time, right? So that is why this deduplication example. Okay, so you can go through this theory. Okay, so here what is being done is basically re-ranking. So first of all, I have some categories and brands. So let me explain the code. Okay, so I've taken again some on the fly example. There are some, 5 to 6 categories, and there are some brands. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to generate one Excel or CSV file where I can dump this particular info for, let's say, 200 products. Okay, so what we'll do, we will just comment out the other part. Okay, so this is the development part, right? So for that, if you see here, right, so if you see, there is no Excel or CSV file currently available. Okay, right, so let's just run this. So it will generate one sample data for many products, 200 products. Okay, right, so we'll open this CSV. Right, so okay, so if you see here, there are 200 products. Okay, and here there are some products which are marked as duplicate. Okay, right, and so on. So what is my job here current as a deduplication provider is to avoid duplicate items. Okay, so first of all, let's take this SKU group ID. So I'll just filter it, and I want to show duplicate values, right? So okay, so if you see this, these are clearly duplicates. The SKU, the stock keeping unit, or the ID basically is duplicate. So this, if user already have seen this or bought this particular item, then there is no use of showing the next item. Okay, so if you see this, Levi's casual model 827 and 827 refurbished, right? So almost the same, right? Let's take some other random. So yeah, Sony travel model 905 and refurbished, right? So we'll see some. This is also refurbished. Yeah, all are refurbished are basically duplicates. Okay. Yeah, you see this one, this two also refurbished. Okay, so we want to avoid this duplication, right? So we, once the user is buying this or seeing this, then they don't want to see this, or vice versa, right? Those kind of thing. Okay, so let me just delete it once. Okay, now this is the development part. Okay, developer will say that, okay, that person, developer has developed the deduplication. Oh, I want to, as a QA, I want to test it. So how do I test it? Again, there are other frameworks like ragas and those things, but this is a simple thing which by coding we can do. So here what we are doing is basically identifying the duplicates. Okay, and that is based on a particular set of column. Okay, so we are opening the Excel file. Again, the main hash we are going to initialize with 90% accuracy and 128 parameters. Okay, so higher is 120 to 256 increases accuracy, and for long strings. Okay, so some trade-off we are doing. This is more than enough. Okay, then there's a method called as get min hash. So basically it will normalize and create min hash signature using 7 word singles and so on. So there is some mechanism where it will identify the different row column combinations, and it will say that these two rows are typical, are based on the 90% threshold, or based on the num prime parameter. These are the ones which are duplicate, these are the ones which are not duplicate. Okay, and so on. Okay, then right, so now read the excel and get the hash, and based on the hash we can find out whether the duplicate is there or not. Okay, right, so we'll just run this and we'll see total number of items scanned and those things. So let's see. Right, so again it generated an excel. Okay, and then now it found some duplicates. Okay, right, so there are after 200 items, these are the ones which are duplicates. So P24, P19, then let's take some random example, Adidas. Okay, let's take this one and open this. Okay, so right, SKU and Control F, search. Right, so line number 5. Okay, so what it is saying, let's search for this one. Okay, so this is matching with ID P093 and P019. Okay, and so on. So basically once again we'll see the duplicates. Okay, so this column, right, so again the duplicates. Right, so same thing, it has identified the duplicates. Right, so the effort here is to test it via programmatically or automatically, or by automation. Why? Because in the actual real world, we don't want to do anything manual, especially this AI world. So we have to do something with programming. So that is why I've tried with this programming. Okay, right, so then demo. Right, so that is all about data cleanup and cross source deduplication. If you like this content, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.